We're here with Ferrell Blair today. He is running for Troup County School Board. He is the incumbent. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born and raised in LaGrange, Georgia, right within a mile or so of where I live now. And I've always been in the Rosemont district. It's special to my heart. It's special to my family. My mother graduated from Rosemont when it was a high school.
Oh, really?
Many years ago. I attended Rosemont. Both my children attended Rosemont, and so the school system, and especially that community, has always been important to me, as well as the Greater LaGrange, because we all interact together.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your experience. What led you to run for school board, and what's been your experience the last 4 years?
I got snookered. No, I'm joking. Many of y'all know and remember late Kurt Hancock now. Was a good friend of mine and had been for many years. Our sons are still best friends and still communicate. And he and I, for many years before he decided to run, we had started eating lunch and discussing politics. And we started out like everybody does, discussing national and international politics. And we've soon come to realize that, okay, there's nothing we can do about that. So as much as we would like to, you just don't have, an individual just doesn't have the kind of impact. And so we started talking about local governments, and we discussed different things, and then and how neither of us ever wanted to run for political office. But then he decided to run, and I gave him a hard time about it. But he was the right person at the right time that came on the school board with his skill sets. And then when he decided to retire, he came to me, and I saw the impact that he had, and I felt like that I could have a similar impact in a different way. I'm no Kurt Hancock, don't claim to be, but I do bring some skills to the table that I think have been useful to the school system. So that's kind of how it got started. In the past 4 years, I've really come to learn, and I think that's of the utmost importance. The school system is very complex, and everybody thinks they have the right answer, as did I and Kurt when we first went on. We think you have the answers. It's just not that easy. It's a huge ship, and trying to change directions is very difficult, and you have so many complex issues coming from the federal government, the state government, and the needs of the kids, are so varied, and we want to meet the need of every child in Troup County, and that's difficult when you got 12,000 plus, and all their needs vary. But that's our goal.
Mm-hmm. And there's over 800 students, 800 certified teachers.
That's right.
In the system, over 12,300 students right now.
That's right.
And 1,900 employees. So it's one of the largest employers in the county.
Second largest.
And so what has been your experience as far as overseeing all of that? And we have our superintendent has turned in his resignation.
That's right.
And so what is the process now for hiring the new superintendent?
We are in the process right now. We are along in the process. It didn't just start. We chose to go with an outside headhunter firm, and they have experience, they have relationships with school districts and superintendents all over the nation. They were actually involved in the process when they hired Brian. I wasn't there then when the previous board hired Brian, and they came in and they take us through some exercises that really brings out what we're looking for, easier than we could verbalize or write that ourselves. It also involved groups of parents, teachers, business leaders, community leaders from every community that we could think of in Troup County, and they have had input on that. Of course, it's our decision to make, but we value what they're looking for, and the problems that they think we have or they know we have, and the things that we're doing right as well, and the things they want to see in a new superintendent. So that's impactful to us because it's important that everybody buys in. I think we do. I think we are in a much better place than we were 4 years ago. I feel certain that we will attract some highly qualified candidates because we're in a better situation. We've kind of got the ship turned now. We just need to start picking up some speed. So
that's great. So do you expect excellence in the school system? And if so, how do you measure it? And how do we bring about excellence?
Okay, I'm not a former educator. I don't come from an education background, and my metric is a bit different than most. Test scores are important. It's a measuring tool. It's not the be all end all.
Right.
Graduation rates are important. They're not the be all end all. For me, the metric is something that's very hard to measure because I want to see where a student is 10 years after they graduate and see how successful they are. They can be a great reader in third grade, but if we don't teach them those life skills, they're not going to be, or they could be falling behind in third grade and still be exceptional, have exceptional success after they get out in the workforce. So that's the metric that I'm looking for, and it's really hard to quantify.
Right.
That information just doesn't exist.
Well, and that kind of goes to my next question is, how do you challenge each student? Because we have parents that are at much different education levels. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm a strong believer, it's highly important parent involvement. And student success a lot of times depends on parent involvement. Mm-hmm. So how do you challenge, and our teachers, I hear a lot of times you have to teach to the middle, mm-hmm. So, and that's important as we need to make sure everybody learns. But how do you challenge everyone?
That's so unfortunate because we do have 12,000 students and we can't have 12,000 different lesson plans for every student. So yes, at some point you have to figure out what's the best for the most. But teachers, the way you challenge is it's in the classroom. It's not from our level. It's the teachers building relationships with the families, the students and the families, and being able to figure out, because every child, I got 2 children. They are challenged in completely different ways. And in a teacher with 20, 25 students in there, they've got 20 different ways they've got a challenge. That can't be a part of a curriculum. The curriculum is important, that it adheres to certain standards and that it's consumable and it works. But the most important thing is the teacher in the classroom building that relationship with that student and understanding that student and understanding the challenge that student may be facing outside of school. And you're right, parent involvement is so important. And we have that on all levels. We have parents that are probably a little bit too involved, a little bit helicopter parents. We have parents that aren't concerned enough. And we have a lot of parents that would love to do more. They just honestly don't have the time or the ability or the resources to do. So that's
balancing all of that.
You're balancing all that. There's not a mom out there that don't love her baby and want to see her baby do well. But sometimes her challenges may be different than others, and that's where I would love for us to welcome kids at the door in the morning and see them home in the afternoon, and them go and we'll provide a great education, and them go to a loving, healthy, profitable, environment at home. And then we see them again the next morning. But that's not the world we live in. We have to provide that kid an education, we've got to go in and figure out ways to help that kid outside of the classroom as well, so that they can learn when they're in their classroom.
Okay.
And that's something people just don't get.
Yeah.
But when you see it in real life, it's just a fact.
Oh, definitely. So I'm going to have 2 follow-up questions to this. So. Okay. One, as far as challenging kids and knowing that, we have so many different talents mm-hmm. Within our the children in our community. What is your opinion on charter schools?
Which charter school?
And that's kind of the thing. So a charter school, it could be focused on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I don't know the legalities around the charter schools, but they're, and this is, I'm just throwing something out here.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. It's what if you had a charter school that followed somewhat of a Montessori, where it's more hands-on for those students that just don't, they don't enjoy the book, and being in a seat all day, is if you had somewhere it was more, outside, exploratory, critical thinking, building with your hands. I don't know, but what is your opinion on looking at totally different options for some students?
I'm all open for that, and we've done a lot of that. That's our whole mantra is a place for every kid, and that's one thing that Dr. Shumate brought here. And it recognizes that every child, every student is not the same and doesn't have the same. Trying to think of the way to put it, doesn't learn the same way, and does not have interest in the same things. I did pretty good in school, but I didn't like sitting in the classroom, and so those kids really appeal to me and I want to provide for them, and we do. We have work study programs. We're pushing ag programs down in the middle school. We're pushing the career programs. Actually down into the elementary school. In the career program, we're starting Discovery in the elementary school now, where kids can be exposed to, because you think most children anywhere, no matter what their parents do or where they live, they're really only exposed to a very few number of careers. And they don't realize, a lot of times they get in high school and just nothing has really piqued their interest and inspired their passion. And so we want to do that. And the younger we can do that, the better. It doesn't, whether it's artists, whether it's building, whether it's, theater or, camera guys, sound guys, we need those people. And actually, that's a great opportunity right here in the state of Georgia. There's movies been filmed here, more than anywhere else.
Right.
So those kind of things is just really important to me. And we are working towards that. You don't have to be in a charter school. And there are great charter schools, and there are charter schools that are not, and that's across the state and across the country. So just being a charter school does not make you any more successful. We can do pretty much what they can do in charter school. As far as that, what you're talking about, we can do that, and we are doing a lot of it now. Am I going too long?
No. and actually, I think that our school system is so important, and I think that this election for our school board is so important that I'm actually going to go over it and ask you some additional questions.
Sure.
Because our school system affects everything in this county. Mm-hmm. Our people are our community. And our youth is what makes up the future of our community. And if we are not pouring into our youth, if we're not making sure that we have the right people leading our school board, leading our teachers, and collaborating, then we're not going to reach the full potential of our community and help our students all reach their full potential. So I'm going to go a little longer, so we're getting the time. So we're gonna put 6 more minutes in here and ask some more questions. So, what do you think about collaboration? So to really get to excellence in our community, to be able to do everything the school system needs, you're really not capable.
No.
I hate to say that, it's been worked on for a long time,
Sure.
And there needs to be more. So what is your opinion on collaboration, and what is needed from the community?
We have great resources, which makes us in discussing with our headhunters, they've recognized we have great resources here. We've got the Callaway Foundation, we've got a great community in schools program, and they just do amazing work. And there are a lot of other community organizations that pour in the schools. There's church organizations, there's community and civic organizations that do a lot in our schools. They help us a lot. The county and the city help us a lot. And one thing we've really worked hard for in the past 4 years is to have a seat at their table on other things too for the city and the county. Used to, a lot of things got voted on and passed and then was handed to the school board and said, okay, either you can vote this down and everybody loses, or you can take it like it is. And now we've worked hard to be able to negotiate what's best for our students in the earlier processes of things, so that we can have an input and we can get that feedback. We also need, as a school system, we need to go into the communities. That's hard to do, but if we can send, and individuals do it, there are schools that do it, there are sports programs that do it, there are different people that go into the community from our schools. As a school system, we need to work at doing that more, because if we pour into them, they'll pour that back into us. So we've got to show them that we love them and care about them where they are, and then they'll come to our house and and help us.
What do you see? What has happened over the last 4 years that you have experience with, and what would you like to see happen of specific collaboration between the school board, the Troup County government, the city of Hogansville, city of West Point, city of LaGrange, and the Economic Development Authority? What kind of collaboration is there, and what would you like to see?
I'll start in reverse order. The Development Authority, I think, does a great job of bringing in people and qualifying those people that they really reach out to and seek, because they want community-oriented companies that come in here. You know, we have some great companies here in Troup County that, you know, Kia, obviously, they do a lot. Duracell, I'm going to leave some out, so forgive me. I'm leaving some out. But we have a lot that pour into us in the community, and they were sought after by the Development Authority, and I think they do a great job on getting those people in here that want to be community minded. As far as the county and the cities, one thing we need is we have a problem with truancy. It has gotten worse since COVID, obviously. People deal with it in the workforce too.
Right.
It's become a problem, and the problem lies in the structure of how we have to go about it. I'm gonna get in the weeds, but I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try to get.
No. I mean, what specific help do you need?
Well, we're working on it. We have to come up with a system that is consumable for the court system. That we in our reporting, we need to use good judgment.
Right,
you know, if a parent takes the kids on a 2-week vacation across the United States,
I'm all for it.
More power to them. As a school board member, we don't need to be sending that mama a letter from the court.
Yeah.
You know? But at the same time, when you have a child that's missed, we don't need to have children missing 30, 40 days before we take some more stronger deterrents for the parents. Because at that point, that child's already missed out.
Right.
That child's missed 30, 40 days of school. They're not going to recover from that.
Right.
You know, so we have to figure out a way that we can use good judgment and still be functional and effective, because, and we don't have the authority really to punish, only the courts do, to do anything with the parents. And there's not many third graders that get to decide whether they're going to go to school or not on their own.
Right.
That's their parents, you know, and so only thing, we don't want to punish the children.
Right.
We want it to be helpful to them. We don't want to punish the parents. That's not the point. We want those kids in school, because that's where they need to be. They get services, they get education, they get, you know, there's a lot of things they get in school, and they need to be there. And we need to figure out a way to, whether that's by using the court system and more teeth, or whether that's by holding our arms open and welcome these people in. Whatever we need to do, we need to figure out how to get more kids in school.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
And to know the difference. Are they in an educational environment when they're not in school? So are they, you know, are they learning while they're out, you know, in doing some kind of experience that would be good, you know, to allow, or, you know, just, you know, not.
Well, they're always learning.
Yeah. That's
what are they learning?
That is very true.
That's right.
Our children, they're watching. You know, accountability. They're learning what they can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we'll wrap up. So there's a lot of development in Troup County, and there has been the 1,700 apartment units that are vertical that are going to be coming online, all within a 4-month period. They should be opening. All of those, but there's a total of 3,000 apartment units that have been approved and are in development stages of being built. So, what is the school system's position on this? Are you ready to handle the influx? Because in speaking with these property managers, they are advertising outside of Troup County. These rental rates are going to be high, and they are looking to bring in the 20,000 people that are driving into LaGrange every day to work. They're hoping they'll capture some of those, and then also they're advertising outside the state and in the Atlanta, Noonan areas. So how will the school system be able to handle this?
Well, unfortunately, the state doesn't let us plan ahead too much with our buildings. Then we've got the new Rosemont School. We still have some capacity. We actually had about 8 years ago. We had more students than we do now currently. So we still have some capacity. We're cognizant of this development coming in. There are other besides the apartments. The apartments actually rate usually as fewer children per household than the
Than the
single family
homes.
detached. Yeah. So but we can only build. We can only get approval from the state to build for what's here. We can't do much anticipating with the range, a little bit, but we can't just go build another school because all these people are coming. I have mixed feelings, as everybody does, on growth. I'm also a real estate investor, so growth is good. I also live in the country, so I like living in the country. I don't want it to be all. But I also recognize that as a community, we either grow or we die on the vine. And so,
with that, I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm sorry, because I just remembered there's a question I have to ask you that has to, and it has to do with growth, and it has to do. So I think you've answered where I was going with that, but there has been the push several times for the school tax to be eliminated for seniors. Would you support a plan to phase out the seniors' taxes? So not immediate, but a plan in place to phase it out.
Well, we have the exemptions now for people that are under a certain income. I think that there are a lot of very wealthy elderly landowners in Troup County that we appreciate their contributions through the years. We appreciate what they've done to help this community. But to say that a millionaire 65-year-old person needs that tax benefit more than a single mom raising 2 kids in a house needs it is just totally preposterous to me. Now we can play with that number, that where that exemption falls, so that more and more can get exempt. But I would never be for it without some sort of threshold to receive that exemption, either based on income or whatever, but not just cart.
I want to say on primary homes of.
Yeah, some people's got $1 million homes too.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. So
I'm not. I mean, I'll be there one day, but I'm gonna keep paying my school taxes. I'm not gonna. I just think that's short-sighted.
okay. No, that's very fair. Is that we do need money for our school system.
We do.
And if we eliminated the senior tax right now, the school system could not function.
No.
And so that's just a fact. And the only way that we could ever see about eliminating that is through growth. So there's a balance.
That's right. That's exactly right. And people think that, and you know this, but people think that when we give these temporary, partial tax breaks to these companies coming in here, we typically get more even in year one than we did the year before. So you can either have nothing or you can have something. And people think that we're giving all this away. We're not. We're actually getting more from these companies than we've got the year before. So, yeah, that's just a misconception. And yes, we have to have money. And if there was any way, and everybody on the board member, I'm not authorized to speak for everyone. That's one thing we learned in class. We're not authorized to speak for everybody on the board, but I will speak for everybody on our board that if we could find a way that we could cut money and provide the same essential services to our students, we would do it in an absolute heartbeat. It's just not there in big chunks. It's just not there.
Right.
80-something% of our budget is teacher salary. So when somebody says, "Are you going to cut this?" Like you want to call and tell them?
Yeah. We can't cut teachers.
Yeah,
we need better. We need we have good teachers, and we need to be able to pay better. As well.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you a minute to close out, so you can tell the community why they should vote for you.
Okay. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. This is a great format that we can, all the candidates can come and speak. The reason I think that you should vote for me is the school system is very complex. It's a very complex organization that ranges from federal programs to state and local programs to community programs, and 12,000 different kids with 12,000 different needs. It is complicated and it is complex, and nobody realizes that until they get on it, myself included. And I had been involved with the school system for years, but not at that level. And when you get in there and you start looking at things, and we all have answers. We all think we have the answers until you get in there and you go, that ain't gonna work, And so going through this time right now, in the past 4 years, we've made some great changes. I think we have the ship turned around. We just need to start picking up some speed now. We don't need any wholesale changes. We need people that understand how these programs got put in place and how we got from where we were 4 years ago to where we are now to be able to continue that process. We've got some board members that have chosen not to run again. So they've served their time. We're working with a new superintendent, or will be in the coming year. And we need that continuity as much as anything. And I think I have worked well with the teachers. I think I have the respect of the teachers and the administrators and the parents, even though there's some of them that probably get mad at me occasionally, but that's okay. I just tell y'all, I've never lost sleep over a parent fussing at me. It does not bother me. What I lose sleep over is when we fail a child somewhere in the process. When we didn't serve that child, that's what bothers me. And I think that's what's the most important.
Well, Ferrell, I really appreciate you being with us today. This is such an important election. Everyone, please go out and vote, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
All right, great. Thank you so much.